Hi and welcome to Non-Parsed Mundo. My name is Marcel and I really hope every one of you are doing really well. Today we are going to take a look at a demo track this time, not a walkthrough. And I made this track entirely with the new instrument of Dan Key, Meanders. So this is, like he said, a cinematic textural toolkit featuring solo, cello, shruti, box and synth textures, and I can tell you it's so beautiful. Right now still on sale, so grab it and get it while you can. You see, this was all possible with an amazing cello player. Her name was Meera Priyanka Raja, and you really feel the emotions she's playing for this instrument. It does work in the free contact version, got a bunch of different articulations, and needs almost 30 GB of hard drive space, but you will not regret buying this amazing tool. So, you heard the demo track already, and so we dive right into it. First, maybe because you know I'm loving the pure approach, if I showcase some instruments, I only used a compressor and a limiter. So I only used the SSL comp from Waves with settings ratio to analog, release time to auto, and attack time of 10 milliseconds. A little bit of threshold so that it barely scratches on the 4. And the L4 Ultra Maximizer. To keep a decent level. I mixed all that it is on -14 LUFS long term and at a -1 dB threshold, so that we don't run into clipping or something else. I did use a little bit of an EQ to get rid of the low frequencies, so 30 Hz, and a small dip of 2.6 at 258 Hz. So, let's get started with one of the presets I created. So it's pretty easy to create your own tracks, own presets. So I made a lot just to play around with it. It calls Icy Alarm, and that's how the track starts. So you see everything is in the low registry. So you have these, that's why I call it Icy Alarm. You have this Icy Alarm vibe with the oscillating articulation and the harmonics. So keep that in mind if you use harmonics, that you keep in mind, or take a look if you are in the right key. And pretty cool, you're able to use the random button. But yeah, for this preset, I used some sub, some reverb and room, and I turned a little bit down the H910, and the Leslie I turned a little bit up. The drive I left as default, but play around with it. It's pretty cool. And then one of my favorite articulations starts. It's the progressive hairpins. I show you why. So you see no expression, no dynamic change for this, but it's just beautiful. I made some changes. I put in more of the H910 because it gives more clarity to my ears. Yeah. And then the Meanders long default pulls up. So in here I just used expression modulation on these specific values, so 82 for the expression, 66 for the modulation. But here I got a raise up to, this is what I still miss in Cubase to see the values, up to 115, and also the modulation. I always keep the modulation expression almost at the same, yeah, at the same spot with string libraries. Not with press, but with string libraries, I do like it. And now you hear it introduces this preset, or the default preset of Meanders. We get it to the melody. So this is pretty cool. So they made it, yeah, a lot of the H910, a lot of the Leslie sub. So keep the sub in mind because it sounds really gorgeous. And they put an octave down, so you are able to play until C0. So very dark. Yeah. And you heard probably some pizzicato. This is also in the long articulation folder. And just pizzicato, staggered, tremolo, and these are beautiful. And when they say long, just use long notes. So this is what I did. So I made a raise in the modulation on C2, C3, and C4, just to give that specific feeling in the beginning. And you see, you can layer it with an octave. And then the Shruti, and I love this. The Shruti is amazing. The shake tremolo, I love it. It gives a kind of a beautiful articulation or feeling to the track for me. I put all the sub down because, according to my pure approach, I don't want to use too much equalizer. I just use it for the master bus a little bit because there is no equalizer in this engine. Yeah, I have the close and mics almost the same to the room and the reverb, but a little bit more drive, a little bit less Leslie, and a little bit less of the H910. And then I introduce it to the track. And if you listen in the context, that's for the intro. And then I changed to Ice Alarm. So it's just basically my Ice Alarm without the minor articulation. So that I don't run into issues with the harmonics. And then I get more fully into the chords already. So I use the bass note just down and introduce it again, the theme a little bit. And I put in some synth squares. So that's basically one articulation. Yeah. So I need some sub. The Leslie gives a really nice feeling to some. I think it didn't work on the synth. Yeah. But on the others, like the Frozen Harmony, it gives you some more high to play around with these articulations and with the settings. You will fall in love with this library, believe me. So now we come to the second part. So that's for me. So where I introduce the theme a little bit more, and then we change into the theme on 4 and 5. But we have a little drop there, but we walk through it again because the Icy Death minor. This is a beautiful articulation which you will hear right now. So since the track name is Icy Restless Horizon, the Icy Death, I call it like this. I could have chosen another name, I know. But it gives you some kind of a mystery feel. I love that. And you see, I give him more of the H910 and less of the Leslie, a little bit less sub. I use it a lot, as you heard in the track. And then my articulation, not really legato, but I try to play it like legato. So this are the settings. So no drive, little 910, little Leslie, no sub, not a lot of room because I want that the instrument is breathing more because it's legato or like the main melody. So I want to have it more direct, more intimate. Like I said, it's not real legato, although I made some adjustments here. So some overlapping, yeah. And I still try to be not as high. I mean, Dan describing he's using a lot of in the 30s, so 30% of the expression and modulation. Just play around, and I try to keep it not too high because then it gets too nasty, probably. I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, then I introduce the melody again with Beauty Moving Pad. This is what it sounds. And you hear the movement is so smooth and it sounds so intimate, so beautiful. And that's why I tried to keep it at that point when I introduced the melody again and the theme as a complete theme. I tried to mix it not with too much. So the ice alarm is fading out more and more. And now the sub is coming again really deep. And you see, I did not make a lot of complex automation. So only the expression and modulation, and on some tracks only the volume. Yeah, and you see this library is already so emotive, or got so much emotion and modulation in it, so you don't have to program actually too much by yourself. What is pretty nice with the melody was the Shruti strong fundamentals, no drive. So, and it sounds so beautiful and gives a little bit of something to the track or to the melody. Maybe it doesn't sound pretty good in this context by itself, but with everything together, it gives a better feeling. And I don't want to forget the subtle movement. This is really subtle. But more drive this time. And don't think that the drive is being really heavy or something. So I show you it's not really. It's giving right that touch you want to hear, or right that drive which is still pleasant for this kind of music. Wrong track. So that you hear that lastly into H910. And now on 6, that's the bridge part, so that's the reason why I made it in a different color. I introduce some of the short articulations. So I want to give a movement. Because it's Restless Horizon, it's like you walk sometimes a little bit faster than you walk slower because of your emotions you are going through. That's the reason why I made it a little of a movement with the short, so that it gives a feeling of walking somewhere or heading towards something. And you never know what's happening. That's why the Icy Death and some other articulations come up again, like here. And sometimes in life, like in life is with everyone, sometimes the changes are good and sometimes the changes are maybe a mystery for you. That's why I introduced the Icy Death all the time, again and over again. Because it doesn't mean it has to be sad or something bad. It just could mean something different. So I think this is what meanders also mean. If you look it up at Google, what meanders means. So could be a change of wind or something. I guess I try to remember that. So sorry for my brain. It doesn't remember everything. Yeah, so that was the highlight. So I doubled the synth melody, which some synths right here. So a lot of room, a lot of reverb on this one, and a lot of Leslie. And not really close stuff. and here I doubled the melody. Yeah, and this gives also a nice feeling. Wait. So the climax, something's happening, and then still the mystery. What will this mean for me, or what will this mean for my future? Yeah, I mean, this instrument is so amazing to use for stuff like this, or if you're into the Nordic music, really gives that kind of feeling, like you hear on Judah Earl, I guess its name, tracks, or the Scandinavian tracks. So really close, really intimate. And just keep in mind, this is all made with one cello. Yeah, and you're able to make not only textures or like an atmospheric track, but also like a melodic track. So this is what I wanted to show in this track. So it's not only for textural or for atmospheric music, also it is for melodic or cinematic music. This is what I always try to show when I make my walkthroughs, or when I make a demo track with only one library, like I did with several others. I always try to show how capable this instrument really is, and it is really capable of doing all of these things without too much programming or whatever. As you can see, I just used some programming, and at the end I got the modulation really high up, so because of the feeling I want to give. Yeah. And you also see that I mixed some of the panning, especially the one more to the right. Then, because I don't want to get interfere with ice alarm, I made the Meanders long default to the left more, a little bit. Deathmin, I made it opposite to the major one. And also the progressive hairpins, because they're so dark, so deep, and you actually I want to hear the cello or a bass. I mean, it's a cello, but sometimes it sounds like a bass instrument. Hearing from the right. So, yeah. The synth square, it's in the middle. It's just to give a little bit of texture to the sub. And the frozen harmonics are to the left. As the Beauty and Moving pad is also. Yeah, real legato more to the right. So you see I just played around a little bit with the panning here and some of the volume. So I was not forced to do a lot of balancing with the volume. I mean, you could have done more mixing, but as my pure approach is to do not too much, I left it like this. I also had the Ozone here. You can hear it. I mean, it's a free plugin, I think, already, still. This could help a little bit the track to give it more air. So. But for this demo track, I left it out of this, yeah. Yeah, I hope I did not forget anything to show you. I mean, these are typical staccato, slow, and randomized in starting point and so on. I'm not a really good piano player, that's why I program a lot of like this. Except for the melodies. I mean, this is what other composers also say. If you have a library by yourself, don't try to drag and drop just the chords in it, I would highly recommend play the chords. Yeah, it depends on your playing, that's true, but I'm not a good player either. But just play the chords because you feel way more. Because you get a better feeling, you know, what I try to explain. So that's what I always do when I start with a track. I try to get my own chord progression. I try to get my own feelings on it with the help of tools like the chord track in Cubase or a Scalar 3, just to get a feeling what I could play. But believe me, it makes a difference if you play your chords by yourself, or if some VST is helping you with that, because you put your emotions in it. And if you're not a good keyboard player like I am, just play maybe 2 notes in octave. And you get the idea, you know what I mean. So, and this is how I get into this theme, just with my own emotions. So what I was feeling and how this instrument touches me, actually. Yeah. Okay. I hope I did show you everything I could. And that was Icy Restless Horizon with the beautiful instrument Meanders by Dan Keen. And thank you again to EST and Dan for providing me with the license. And as always, never anyone pushed me to say something good or something bad about it, but I never would do that anyway. So these were all my opinions about this library. It's really beautiful. The only thing I miss would be maybe an EQ or an ADSR. Sometimes it would help, but you heard the release time is pretty amazing, and even the attack time really fits perfectly. So Dan really knows how to make instruments. Maybe you know some of his instruments by on Spitfire Audio, and if you watch his videos, you really know why he's doing such a great job. And yeah, just check out the videos on the website too. They're really worth watching completely, and you get more feeling or more important or direct feeling to how he made it and what is this instrument capable of. So, what are your thoughts on this demo track, or what are your thoughts on Meanders? I mean, I love it. It's a beautiful instrument, beautiful toolkit, as you said. You saw it. You were able to make a whole track with only Meanders, with melodies, and yeah, you really feel the emotions he and his cello player put into this, and she did a great job. Really, so emotional, and yeah, looking forward then to future libraries, because you're doing a great job. And so let me know what you think. Leave a comment, leave a subscription if you want to, and let me know what you think about the track or the library, or what are your attempts to create a track like this, or would you use that library only for atmospheric? Yeah, let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.